There's an incredible amount of challenges, isn't there, now for horse owners in terms of trying to keep horses in the most natural way when there is less and less land year on year. And actually here in the UK, I'm not sure how it is in Spain, but here in England, in this particular corner of England, we are finding that even our hay is far too sugary, and we have to soak our hay every day because otherwise our miniatures get exactly what you're describing, that very early signs of laminitis where they're just a bit sensitive, and we're thinking, why? They're moving, they're on low sugar everything, they get turnout, but it's in mud paddocks, all in muddy sort of areas. Why? Oh, it's the hay. And now we're battling against our sugary hay. We've gone to our hay provider. We've asked for the coarsest, lowest sugar hay possible. He's guaranteed it. And even that's come back far too sugary. And we're soaking that every day. And it just feels like a constant battle. Do you think we have to just keep being curious and keep looking for new options as to how we can keep our horses more naturally and manage all of these challenges?
Yes, I do think so. And I think one of the really big things is getting them moving, because if the horses get more movement, then they can tolerate a little bit more. I would say the biggest thing is get them moving, get the horses moving, because this is really, the lack of movement is a big deal. And the less movement they get, the more concerned we have to be about the feeding. So if we can get the horses moving more, and I know that is a difficult one, but that's really number one. And then if you know that you have a hard time getting hay that's low enough in sugar, you can look at what else is the horse eating. So if the horse is also on grass, for example, does it have access to short, bitten down, stressed grass that contains a lot of sugar? Maybe you can do something about that. What else do you feed your horse? Does it get supplements that has sugar in it? So we can, there are different things that we can, we can make a change then maybe to the other things that we're feeding the horse. Because if we give the horse sugary grass, sugary hay, and muesli with molasses, then that might be too much for that horse's system to take. But if we can then cut down on the grass, we can cut down on the other things and just feed a simple vitamin mineral balancer and hay and get the horse moving, then maybe it will be okay to feed the hay that has a little bit more sugar.
That's a really inspiring message, because I'm sure I'm not the only horse owner that feels almost a bit scared to, unsoak their hay, or a bit scared about what they're eating. Can they have this particular foraging treat that's low sugar, or is that still too much? But actually, it's really reassuring to know that actually if we can step up their movement, their exercise, if we can take them out on a few more in-hand hacks, because that's what we do. We like to take them out into the countryside where we can't have them on a track system. We take them out for walks. If we do that, then actually there will be room for a little bit more forage and a little bit more sugar, which is reassuring to know. Yeah. Louise, I wonder if you could tell us a bit about your philosophy, because I read some online and I just was totally moved by what you had to say, and it really resonated with me about your philosophy working alongside horses.
So you mean with the training, or?
Yeah, when you say, and I will sort of quote it back at you, Louise. I love that you say, my philosophy is that the horses did not choose this life with us. We chose it for them. So therefore you have a responsibility.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So once again, I think that everything is connected. I think that we cannot just focus on one part of the horse's life. And that be the hoofs or the training or the riding. And I think that it's something that we tend to do a lot as humans. We tend to focus on only one thing and then kind of forget about the rest, and everything is connected. So we're not going to have a happy horse if we don't provide them with a proper lifestyle, right? And if we then do that and then we focus on the training, I think that we're having horses for pleasure these days, at least in our part of the world. We're not we don't need them to help win wars or plow our fields anymore. It's not a matter of survival. It really is for pleasure. But it seems to me often when I look out in the world and teach students also, and that we're still kind of stuck in this picture that horses are for riding, and that's it, and if I can't ride my horse, then it's really not worth anything. Or it sounds a bit harsh, but it's kind of, I feel that it's a little bit like that, and we need to change that outlook. The horses, it's not, they're just horses, and we're the ones that choose to have them as our companions or pets or riding animals, whatever we want to call it. And so it really is our responsibility to figure out, how do these animals, how does their psychology work, how do they communicate, what do they like, what do they need, and how can we build a connection with them. And maybe the connection should be more important than, can I ride my horse and how quickly can I ride my horse, and yeah. So I think it's really, I think we need to change the way we view it. Yeah.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because every other animal that we have as humans in a domesticated sense, we give them that pet status. Our dogs, our cats, our rabbits. No one's worried about the job they may have. No one goes out to buy a dog for a job these days.
No.
It is for a companion, for a friend, a family member that's going to be loved and adored, whatever happens to that dog. Same for cats, rabbits, guinea pigs, and everything else that comes into our family life. Horses have still, in 2025, got to have that purpose. They're bought for a reason, whether it's to ride or to drive, whether they're jumping or they're doing endurance or they're eventing. There's always a plan earmarked out for them, isn't there, and a destiny when they reach their new home. And it's something that has always mystified me, that then people are able to move them on when they've finished their time with their horse at that particular moment, and then move on to a smarter model or a more advanced model. And no one, if we did that to our dogs, there would be outrage, wouldn't there? Exactly. Absolute outrage in our society, and yet it's totally normal for horses. And I get why perhaps in the past that's been the case, but why do you think, Louise, this is still an issue we are facing in 2025?
Yeah, I ask myself that all the time. I'm not sure I have an answer for it. I think part of it is because we're still kind of, I think it takes a long, long time to change traditions and traditional thinking, and maybe we're still stuck in this pattern of, well, horses are working animals, and so even though we use them in quotation signs as for competitions and stuff, there's still that thing, I think, kind of stuck in our minds, that they're supposed to work, and maybe also because they're expensive. People spend a lot of money on horses. It's expensive to own a horse, and it costs more than it does to own a cat or a dog, right? It's an expensive animal. There's lots of things that we have to pay for. We have to pay for the vet. We have to pay for the farrier. The food is expensive. The boarding is expensive. They're large animals. So I think that many people see it as, well, I pay all this money, so you have to give me something back. I think that's in the back of the mind of a lot of people, that I make sure that you get the food you need and all these things. I pay for your farrier, so you have to give me something back. And I think that if we could help humans change that mindset, that would be really, really beneficial, not just for the horses, but for us as well. Because who says that it's better to go for a ride on your horse than it is to sit in the paddock and just be close to them? Who says it's better to, I don't know, win a competition than to have a connection with your horse where they choose to come up to you and spend time with you? So I think that we would benefit from changing that mindset as well as the horses would. But I don't know, it takes a lot of time. And then we also have a lot of pressure on us, right? I mean, society is there's a lot of pressure on everybody. Everybody's stressed out. There's a lot of pressure. We have to look good. We have to have success. We have to all these things. We have to show on social media what we can do, what we can achieve with our horses. And I think it
Mm,
puts a lot of pressure on people who are maybe new in the horse world, people who come into the horse world with a dream of connection and partnership, because I think a lot of humans actually that is what they want. Deepest down inside, I think that that's what most of us want is the connection.